My guest today is actress Meredith Thomas, whose acting career began with a role in Pleasantville as a teenager, and she hasn't stopped working in film and television since. Now, Meredith is known as the quirky blonde beauty with a girl next door charm and wit, and it's no wonder she has become a television movie favorite, and she is second only to Vivica A. Fox in the number of lifetime television movie appearances. And Meredith is back today to talk about a starring role in a new short film series, Aliwood. So let's welcome actress Meredith Thomas back to the show. Welcome back, Meredith.
It's awesome to be here. You always make me feel so good. I always look forward to this because you have such a great positive spirit, and I'm like, yeah, I needed that this morning. This is
Oh,
great.
walk us through. I know that you have this brand new short film series called, is it Hollywood?
It's Hollywood, like Hollywood, but the lead character's name is Ali, so it's Hollywood. Um, yeah, it was. Oh my goodness. It's a hilarious short form series that was on the Emmy ballot this year. It's a the Emmys. It's a relatively, as far as Emmys categories go, the short form is a really it's a newer category, and it's struggled to find its place, like all kind of new emerging things that come out. Like I sometimes feel like the industry is not necessarily ready for them. They're like, oh wait, where did this come from? And so for as long as I've been at the academy, this has existed, but when I came in, it was only the second year. I joined in 2016, and so that may have been when short form was created. So um, it's been an interesting journey for this category because when it was initially launched, only the kind of inside people at the academy really knew what was coming. So the networks and the stars didn't know about it yet. So there was this kind of interesting window. And I actually have two very dear friends of mine who have won Emmys in this category in the early days. Um, and so, but then people have kind of tried to jump on board and make content that's really short and quality. And, and it was either people were either ahead of the time with that, like Quibi, right? It was a kind of ahead of its time. Like
Well, I
people,
was going to bring that up because Quibi, the idea was perfect. The execution was horrible
I have
because,
to. I'm glad you. I never. I didn't watch one thing, so I'm glad you have some expertise in there because I never saw one thing.
well,
By the time it was on the Emmy ballot, it was already no. The company, I don't even think even existed. I remember when it was flooding the Emmy ballot, but I think they had already kind of run their course, so they didn't even
yeah.
have a
Well,
course. It just went.
what,
It was here and then it was gone.
yeah, because see, what I had heard, because I was watching the building of Quibi, and it's been at least, I think it was 2 years ago that it had became a monster flop. So Katzenberg and the team blew through $2 billion and got nothing out of it. But
Wow.
all of these creators created the content. They were doing what it was like. You would have, could be a 2 minute short, it could be a 5 minute newscast, could be a 10 minute so called feature film. And
Mhm.
so their idea was when they came out with this, the first thing they did was we're charging people. That was where they failed because
Ah,
it should have gone out as free, let people get hooked on it, and then you slowly implement your subscription services, which is what everybody did. That
mhm.
was the model. The model, not that it's actually perfect, but they thought their idea was, hey, we're going to create this incredible short form content. People's attention spans are shorter today, and we're going to make billions off of this. And they completely executed it incorrectly because they didn't understand their audience because
Mhm.
TikTok kicked their butt.
Of course, yeah. People don't want to, and yeah, I hear you. I didn't. They or you get them hooked, and then all of a sudden there's sponsorships and there's partnerships. Like there's, which is what obviously TikTok figured out. Very interesting. Yeah, it was so. It, we've watched, just in I mean, I feel like in some ways I'm a baby compared to a lot of my friends that have been at the Television Academy. I've only been there since 2016, but I've watched this journey. And one of the reasons that I was excited to put Aliwood up this year is I knew that it's still struggling, like it's struggling to find its place. Because I joke about, we used to call them like web series, remember, like and they're not really web series anymore because it's everything's streaming. But there was this moment where we were calling them digital series and we were calling them web series. And so I was excited to have Hollywood be there because one, I was so proud of it. I think the work that Ali Zahiri did with creating this it was just so funny.
It
Like it
was
was just,
brilliant, Meredith, because when I watched all 6 episodes,
oh good.
and the thing, so from I'm going to say, from a mini series standpoint,
Hmm.
this was because of the failure of Quibi. Hollywood is in the category of being a pioneer because this is how it has to start. This is the only way to get the public involved. You've got to offer it, you put it out there, you get people to watch it for free. And the greatest thing about a short film, and ladies and gentlemen, get this, Hollywood is 6 episodes. They only range from 2 to 3 minutes each, but it's so perfectly done because one of the things that I was watching was, how does a transition happen at the end of one episode and then goes into the next episode? And I love the edit points because they were perfect endings, but the ending was also the perfect beginning of the next episode. So every episode flowed because when I looked at it, you could have made a 12-minute short film and it would have worked. But this is something that I look at as a pioneering situation in television and in film, and this is an absolute perfect format for independent filmmakers to get into creating a series.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. I agree. I think what Ali created, and I have to say I helped out a little bit with the suggestion of the edit. So so that makes me very happy that you say that, because you want to keep your audience engaged, and so that you can watch it as a full series, or you can wait for the next one. And it really, or it's a or is you can just say that is a hilarious clip, right? That was, and with the audience span, there were so many things that I could clip out and just put on my social media, just so many hilarious lines that he wrote. And it was one of just to go back, because I know I got off on the whole tangent about short form. But Ollie and I did this. We met on this ridiculous, I call it a mockbuster, because like a B movie. Although my aunt would say, if that's a B movie, what's it must have been on a sliding scale. So but we met on this B movie. We were stuck on this airplane for a week shooting this film, and we were both passengers on this disaster type of movie. And so we met years ago there. And then a dear friend of ours, when he was casting um, the role of Elle Miller, she read the script and she said, "Yeah, you should consider Meredith." and and I just fell in love with her from the moment that I saw her on the page. I was like, I get, like we've all met a woman like this in Hollywood, that is just politically incorrect. She says whatever she thinks, does it. She was so fun to play. I can't tell you. I think you can tell we had
Oh
a
well,
lot.
yeah. Your part is so fun. Yeah, because your part is so funny because you actually balance both the seriousness and the humor at the same time. So for everyone out there who's not sure what Aliwood is, Elle Miller actually plays. You're actually playing a porn star manager, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, and which is definitely a big departure from Lifetime movies, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny. Yeah, I played those kind of. I play those career women a lot, but definitely not one with a career like this. You definitely don't see that on Lifetime.
Yeah, one of the first things I noticed, and I actually paused it because I'm like, so when the camera, so when it's Ollie and you in that office, and the camera's on Ollie, I had to look to the right, and I'm looking at all of these little award trophies, and I started laughing because I'm thinking, where would you make those?
Oh my, yeah, those, yeah, the art direction was so good. I don't know who ended up with all of those little awards. I wish I had one because I am Al Miller. I should have had one of my awards, but yeah, well, that's a good little. We won't call it an Easter egg, but that's a good little thing, guys. When you go watch the series, look for how perfectly done the awards are in my office.
Well, I thought the ones on the shelf were funnier than the one that was on the desk.
Yeah, the one on the desk was kind of, it was on the nose because it needed to be, and you see a lot of that. But
Well,
the
yeah,
other,
and
what?
but this whole series was so funny,
Oh, thank.
and I mean, when you read the script, I guess you said you just fell in love with the character.
Yeah, she was. I kind of knew that character. Fun little fact. She is loosely based on an agent that both Ollie and I used to have.
So,
So
someone who tells the brutal
now,
truth.
now Ali is not in porn. I am not a porn manager, and neither of us are in porn. But it was based on an actual, sorry, not manager, agent that Ali and I used to have. And at the time, we were both still with her, and he said, "Oh, this is based on so and so," and I said, "No way! I totally see it." And I go, "Does she know?" He's like, "Yeah, she's totally fine with it." It's I get so. It's based on an actual interview that he had as an actor of being told that he wasn't ethnic enough to play his ethnicity or his race, or like it's like
Well, yeah, because Ali is actually he's Iranian, correct?
he was born there. He and so to be told, no, you're not. We gotta ethnic you up. Keep the beard, like so. And I think that happens to a lot of people in our industry that don't. It's like unless you have an accent or you fit this stereotype of how in the past people from Iran or any other countries are presented, um, have been presented in the past. Unless you fit that stereotype, um, Elle says, well, you're too white. You're too white to play Iranian. Like you look more Greek or Mexican, or you know what I mean. And so, um, and this was written, uh, we shot this during the pandemic. Like
Really?
yeah. So this was, we've been trying to find a place for this, and if we can convince Ollie to, write a second season, I think it would be amazing. I want to see, um, where this goes.
Well,
If
has he
for a
submitted
second,
this series to any of the film festivals?
um, Not, no. In fact, I guess I should talk to him about, that, and um I'm less aware of how the short form stuff works. I guess I should do some research. We should both do some research for festivals because, I've had shorts all over the place in festivals, but in this kind of series form, I guess we should definitely look into that. I'll talk to him. We
I
should.
would, because right now I think Toronto International Film Festival is still taking submissions.
And do they have a kind of a series kind of format like that?
I would probably either go straight to their website or go to Film Freeway, and it'll list all the categories that the festival will have. And there are festivals, especially if when they have a short film category, some of them have a web series category.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that because years ago, the second year that Sundance had its kind of its independent, the second year that it had its independent television category, I was actually there with a series called Quarter Life Poetry, and it was amazing, and especially to be there for the second year, and then that ended up we were on the short form ballot through FX was trying to do a streaming short, like streaming shorts. It was called FXX. But we're talking going back, pandemic days when all this, well, that was the Sundance right before the shutdown. So that I say it was probably a petri dish. We were all like probably spread.
Well,
We had no idea what we were spreading around. We didn't know what was about to come. But I have a feeling that a lot of people came home from that Sundance with a little
well, yeah.
not.
Well, I was looking at this series, and I'm going to let you explain it, but there's diverse storytelling here. Because and you brought up one, there was one piece because it was based on Ollie's ethnic. And so, because when I was watching it and when Elle was questioning him about that, I started laughing because I'm like, I can imagine what his IMDb page looks like, and says, I can play Middle Eastern, Greek, Mexican, Italian,
Yep.
Spaniard, So, but
Yep.
there was even more to it because Ali really wanted to showcase or break the Middle Eastern stereotype, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, he basically took a real life incident and then made it, and then he also and then made it even funnier because instead of having it just be in Hollywood, he has it in like a porn version of Hollywood. And so he also added in the sexual, the stereotype of, or like the repression that he grew up with. So I think it was, but yeah, absolutely. What Ali had said is just like that he wanted to, humanize, humanize all people from Iran. And the irony is that we launch, and within a couple of months the bombing started. And so here we have this series that's really about laughter on the ballot. It's not, and and it was an opportunity to really humanize people from another country. And he is, he was born there. He's an American. He's an American, but he's Iranian. He has his family, and so to be hopefully bringing a little laughter and humanizing, showing the stereotypes, because I basically, my character says, like, unless you're a terrorist, we don't understand you as an Iranian person unless you're a terrorist. Bringing some light and laughter to that dark stereotype and the dark situation that happened to be going on as the voting's happening. So
Yeah.
we any foresight about what was going to be happening during this time, but it was an opportunity to really be groundbreaking in that um, we
Well,
break the
it is because I've interviewed many
stereotype. He,
Iranian filmmakers.
yes, yeah,
And
full.
so, and I had a friend of mine who is an Egyptian American actor, Saeed Badreya, who was in Iron Man, and I mean some of these Independence Day, these big movies. And he said the same thing. The biggest problem is you get stereotyped, and he has worked into roles in which that's no longer an issue. But he says it still happens today. Like you said, oh, okay, so you're Middle Eastern descent. You know, if we get any terrorist roles coming up, we'll let you know.
And it's been, you know, like practice this, the town has been filled with we have a history in this town of trying to break those stereotypes, you know, for a very, very, very long time, and still happening. You know, Asian actors were put, okay, you're the pharmacist, you're the nurse, you're, you know, we're going to put you, these are the roles that we see for you, these are the roles that you are going to fill. And instead of just being like, oh, you're a handsome young man, you're a leading man. Now, most actors are going to start out as character actors unless you're like the you know, you're so exceptionally young and beautiful. Everyone starts out finding their way, and there's some stereotype usually that gets you in the door, and then the hope is that you have the talent and that you can bring that into other roles. Um so I think it was a wonderful thing to just kind of flip it on its head and tell the story of the stereotypes in a really funny way.
So, so that means in Hollywood today, still they're casting based on stereotype.
It's, I mean, I can't, obviously, as like a white woman, I can only tell the story of what I see and the breakdowns and what I hear from my peers. But so I would say, based on talking to my peers, it is getting better. It is getting better than, you know, we have made some progress, but like I've seen it in that it used to be like very clearly you'd see a breakdown and it would be like white. Now they make it so much easier with these online castings to open it to everyone. And so you rarely ever, luckily see a breakdown anymore that's like white woman, white man. You see the age range, you see the character description, and then you usually see every ethnicity checked, which, I mean, so um there's a little progress there. um People I know, casting people, are now just saying, just take that out. There's no reason this person has to be this sex, this race. You know, just take that out. Let's cast and let's decide. So I do there, I mean, so I just, from where I sit, I see there are changes. Is it happening fast enough? No. You know, it's interesting because I went and saw all of the went through and looked at all of the nominations yesterday, and I said to myself, because I've seen the shift just since I've been in the academy and watching the nominations, and I said to myself, seems not as diverse as the past few years. And that wasn't, that was just me eyeing it, not doing any statistical thing. And then a reporter that I follow very closely at Variety within hours came out and said, even though we have made even though there was some monumentous, like groundbreaking nominations, it still represented less people of color than the past few years. And that's interesting because a lot of the studios their DEI programs went away. I mean, now it's not saying that they're not making an effort to continue to do that, but the actual divisions at Warner Brothers, like, just they went away. So that's interesting.
Yeah, you know what? Now I'm okay. Now I've got a thought because if they're looking at and studying the demographics of traditional television viewership, then the casting for new programs or the creation of new programs may go towards the demographic that is still watching traditional television. If you create a series that's in streaming, the demographics are extremely wide. So if
Mhm.
you wanted to create an Asian series, a Hispanic series, a Black series, it goes on and on and on. So streaming, I think, is more. It's freed up for all the actors. They're not going to be stereotyped. But then on traditional television, because of the fact is that's where the advertisers live, they're looking at the demographic. And I think if this year's Emmys is less diverse, were the shows chosen more on traditional TV than they are on streaming?
No, I mean, I think that, yeah, no, and most everything is there. The you know, like, if we talk about the, like, the major four networks, no, most of the nominations are going to the cable and the street, like Severance, Severance and the studio.
Yeah, the
So
studio. Yeah, I heard Martin
yeah,
Scorsese
that
actually got a nod.
they get, I mean, so if you look, I think it's also that the Emmys love stars. I mean, and of course the Emmys are the elite of the television world, so of course they're going to like, and the stars often have are on the shows that have the money to pay them, and then pay for these huge FYC campaigns. So I it's just interesting, but I'd have to, like, there was more voters this year than I think many years before. Um and so I don't I It's interesting. I'd have to really read to see what the drop was, but no, streaming is killing it. Like, and you're right. You have a different audience there. And some of these streamers, they already have they are Amazon, Apple TV. They have the money that comes from another place. They don't need to play to their advertisers, right? So,
That's true. They don't because I think what is it, ABC Hulu? So they're together and
and I
so
think
yeah, that's true.
Disney, and so, yeah, Disney, ABC, Hulu, FX, kind of all. So it's funny because I worked for Disney years and years ago as a live performer, not in one of the parks, as a it was this experiment basically for Disney back in the 90s to compete with, like, Chuck E. Cheese. And so it was called Club Disney, and I performed at in a suburb outside of LA in West Covina. I performed at the original Club Disney out there, and when we were organizing to bring in AGVA, which is the Union for Variety Artists, yeah, so yeah, I was a union organizer at like 20 something years old, and I was trying to get Disney to, do union contracts and pay the performers more. There, Disney was like, well, people think we're Disney, but this is only an aspect of Disney. We're not, this is a but they think Disney and they think money, but on the other hand, Apple, I don't think, is yet Apple TV, Apple is Apple Plus, or like the streaming. I don't know that they are they're not making money yet. We could do, like, as people in the industry, we should do. But the last article I read, they're not making money on the streaming. It's Apple money, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, well, see, they can lean on the major company money. I don't think Netflix has ever made any money because all I ever hear is how much in debt they are. But you're nothing more than a content creator when you're streaming and you're trying to create all this content, and the only income coming in is based on the subscribers. And if the subscribers don't grow, you're kind of stuck. So you're still creating content, but now it's a loss.
yeah.
So those
Apple is
shows aren't.
killing, though, such wonderful shows. I
Oh,
mean,
well, yeah, but see, there's no. See,
but,
now that's one reason why some of them are looking at bringing in advertising because they've got to offset these massive losses that the subscriber count doesn't cover.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
But I want to.
when you turn on stuff for free, you know, when you turn on things for free, you know, I mean, I'm spoiled. I don't have any of them because I'm an Emmy voter, so I'm very spoiled. So half of the year I'm watching all the best stuff for free anyway. Um, but yeah, it's been, we are in, it's very interesting time. But well, we've been in interesting times for TV for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, because
Well,
we,
let me ask you this because uh, you've done movies for Lifetime, Hallmark. You know what it's like being on set. With Aliwood, what was it like working on an independent project?
oh, I love independent projects because it's a family. You know, every when it's independent, I'm doing an independent short this weekend, and again, it's a family. I play it's I'm play I'm doing a short to help out a young lady who's played my daughter on two Lifetime movies. Oh, I'm sorry, one Peacock and one Lifetime movie. And so we are a family. So we're not. So it's I nobody, no one was doing Hollywood for the money. No one. So when you're there, it's a collaboration, and there's an excitement that someone you knew is following his dreams. So you want to do, I mean, I wanted to be so good for Ali because I was so happy at what he'd written and that he was following his dreams. And I think that's the energy often when you get on a really well written independent. I have a I may have talked about it, in December with the Christmas season. But I have a wonderful film that I can't wait to get out to the world that I shot in Michigan, um, right right before the actors strike started. Like, we rushed it in so that we could all work because it was already written. And it was one of the best experiences of my life because everybody wants to be there. They believe in the project. They may be working for a little less than they're used to, but they're so grateful to be in the mix with the creativity. So, and that was the feeling on Hollywood. Like, we knew we had something special. You could see nothing looks independent on that set. It looks, I mean, the caliber of acting, the caliber of the sets, the caliber of directing, it looks it it
The,
it
the, yeah,
it
this
looks
is
like it could be, like, if each episode was 22 minutes, that could be on TV. The as with the caliber of the work, and I obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I didn't produce it, so I'm not a producer on this, so I get to be, say that, yeah, I was grateful to be there, and it was, that caliber. It could be a sitcom, tomorrow.
well,
My that
that's the thing I noticed because when I looked just the look of it, this is something that ABC would put on television if, like you said, if it was a 21, 22 minute sitcom, because it's done perfectly. I mean, this is, when you look at it, you don't see independent filmmaking on this at all. It looked like a studio did it.
Absolutely. And when you, I mean, which is amazing because I feel the same way. Like when I look at, I I'm a tough critic, and I've been on a lot of independent stuff, some that I am ridiculously proud of, and some I will not mention. I don't want you to ever watch, because I have seen the continuity, or I see the shot, and I'm like, as someone who directs and produces, I'm like, no, 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 no. And so, thank you for saying that, because yeah, I get taken out so fast by something, and you want to forgive it, like you want to go, oh honey, you're making something, like I'm so proud that you're, but then on the other hand, it's like, oh, but then just that one shot, or that one sound issue, that one prop that just doesn't fit, or that looks like a prop, breaks my heart.
Well, yeah,
Because
it's funny, Meredith, because I get sent trailers every day. And so some of these films that come out, I'll look at the trailer and my first thought is, and when I look at something that doesn't strike me, I'll look at it and I'm like, who wrote the check for this? Because a lot of things that are made make zero sense on the financial end.
Mhm.
I've seen independent films, they look absolutely fantastic. The acting is spot on. You're thinking, why isn't this film at the theater? And then you see the other ones and you're like, I wouldn't have wasted my time.
Yeah, and sometimes I've seen that, and sometimes they just get some. I've seen like somebody gets some money behind it, or they believe in the cause, or somebody convinced somebody, you know, um, and that's why it's why it was so exciting to get Hollywood on the ballot, because there's a lot of stuff that, well, and as I said in some of my interviews when during vote, it's like we're up against the big guys, like, and the cat, this, to get a short form series on the Emmy ballot today, and this has been in the last 6 years they implemented, there is actually there's and it's one of the very few categories that, if you're not network backed, there is a very strict vetting. And so the so we so to have passed that vetting for the show, and you have to pass for the show to even be considered for your acting. So to get not only Hollywood on the ballot as a series, to be up against the network stuff, and for both Ali and I to be vetted through as actors, was, that we got through that hurdle, so um and then, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who's a wonderful actor and also had something on the ballot this year. And I said, well, we paved the way. Sadly, our risk paved the way for two more stars to be nominated this year, because last year there was so few. It goes with this category, the number of nominations goes by the number of submissions, and the submissions have gotten so low in this category for short form, that not it's the only performers category that is male and female. It's performance. It's not supporting actor, leading actor. It is performance. So last year it was three nominations covering all the male and female, covering actors and actresses, three nominations. I was lucky enough to help out last year on a series called Razor, which was amazingly done. And Mina Mina Savari got her very first nomination. Well, her first major award nomination in 20 years on this short form series. And in addition to that, she filled one of three spots and was the only actor on an independently produced short form to be on there. So last year, three spots for all of the actors and actresses in short form. This year, five spots. Now, so I was saying to my friend yesterday, I said, well, all of us independents that took our risk, we opened it up and two more celebrities got nominations. It wasn't actually what we planned, but five. So there were five nominations this year in performers in short form instead of three last year. So
What
you're
do you
welcome. You're welcome.
yeah. Well, do you think that we'll start seeing more short form series like Hollywood?
Honestly, I don't, because
Really?
here's the thing, and I say this without any like resentment or anything, because the Emmys are designed to be the elite of the like this is the best that is out there. Now, this, because we talked about, Quibi, this may not be something, there may not be a place for this anymore, because now, um what we're seeing, with, I don't know if you followed any of this stuff that's vertical, these verticals, they're getting like subscribers, they're basically short little soap operas, and you get hooked, and then you buy the subscription and you can watch all you want. Now those are getting made really, really rapidly. They're shooting all over town, and so that kind of short content is there. I just don't know if you look at the nominations this year, um, for short form. One, there's so few that they all go into kind of one category, either scripted, um, or or scripted, but also variety goes in the same category. So there's unscripted, and then there's variety and short burst. So we were in the same category with things that spin off of the Daily Show. So it's the behind the scenes from the Daily Show. Same category of footage from This Is Us. I mean, I'm sorry, not This Is Us. That's spin off that. The Last of Us, I meant to say. So if you look at the nominees in that category, their network, their short form series that spun off from already really popular network show. Um, so so I don't know that I don't know that, I mean, that short form, it's going to grow. Um,
Well,
and
okay, you said something. Yeah, because you said the vertical, because that's growing, and that's where I think Quibi was aiming for, because you're going to have Instagram, you're going to have TikTok, and a lot of that is vertical. And earlier you brought something up, because with Hollywood, because they're each only I think only the last episode hit the 3 minute mark. The other ones were like 2.5 minutes each. Each one of those could be placed on Instagram to lead people back to actually watch the whole series, because that's actually the beauty of this type of series. Because to me, when I watched it, I'm thinking this format is pioneering, and I think this is the first one I've ever seen that was this short, but it was perfectly done.
Yeah, it didn't feel forced, right? Into like it didn't feel forced into oh, a two, like, oh, here's a 2 minutes clip. I felt like it. Yeah, I was real. I thank you for saying that, because I agree. I think sometimes, um either there's so much money behind them and they run a little longer, because these in this short form they can be 2 minutes all the way up to 15 minutes. So so with the network stuff, with the money behind it, they can afford to run a little longer. Um, but I didn't feel that with the editing that anything was forced into like this 2 minute box, and that each could, each was interesting enough episode on its own to hold your attention.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it was. So the series has only been out for 2 months.
mhm.
So what has been the response to it? I mean, my gosh. I mean, to be out for only 2 months and ended up being on the Emmy ballot, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, yeah, it's we were just really lucky that we had this, that I mean, I actually was, because I have kind of some of the inside, and I've been, very active with the Television Academy. I went to Ali and I said, we got to do this. We got to get this. This is where we got to put this. And was able to also, I said to him, you need to be in the Television Academy. Like, went and looked at his resume, and this happens all the time with people. They don't realize, and it happened for years. I never joined because I was like, oh, I'm not worthy. And then all the time I'll go, look at your body of work. Like, this is television work. Let's get you. So it was two, like, we got, in addition to Ali joined the Television Academy, within that span, joined the Television Academy, got the series and himself on the ballot as an actor. So I feel like, yeah, maybe this is just the beginning. Thank you for suggesting that we look into some of these film festivals with, as looking, because I know a lot of it's newer. It's weird to say newer because we've had that long pandemic where it felt like, we lost so many years. But um I was at the second year for Sundance for that, and I was at the first year. It was the first year for Slam Dance that they did the series. So yeah, I think maybe this could be just the beginning instead of, I mean, just the beginning instead of the end.
Well, yeah, because with the right film festivals that have this type of category, it just increases the awareness of this type of series. And of course, I always believe that if you're going to submit to a film festival, submit to the top film festivals, because that's the only way to really get real press out of your work. I also understand too. Now, did Spirit Quest with Jack Maxwell, did it get nominated for an Emmy?
We did not get nominated. We took again, just the same with Hollywood. It's always, it's a long shot when you're not a celebrity and you don't have, and Jack's a celebrity, not but when you don't have the network, a huge network money behind you. So it's always a long shot, but there's a shot. As I said, I created this group back in 2018 called FYC Independence that was specifically for giving people a shot, and we've had wonderful success getting people recognized, and underrepresented people or independent projects that people hadn't discovered yet, a little bit of notice. So as far as that, with that's a win. The fact that this independently produced sub project was on the daytime Emmy ballot, that's automatically a win, because every daytime voter in that category got to watch the whole pilot, which not very many people have seen the whole 40 something minute pilot. So we that was, again, we took a risk. In hindsight is 2020. In hindsight, I was telling our cinematographer, perhaps we should have done it more regionally, but I felt like there's more, daytime is more New York and LA based. Like the people that know Jack and I are New York and LA people. So, but in hindsight, we might have done better if we had put it in the Pacific Southwest Emmys because it's all San Diego. But I took that risk because we have Jack's name on it, we have Sammy Hagar, um, and again, it was a lot. I saw the nominations. It's a lot of Nat Geo. It's a lot of PBS, and so. But as I said to Ali yesterday, and as I said to my cinematographer, who has his own production company and was involved in the Emmy submission, as I said to him, I said, thanks for shooting for the moon with me. I'll never regret shooting for the moon, especially with something that I am so proud of, like both of these projects.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah, they're great. And now for you, do you have any other upcoming projects that you have in the works and any new Christmas movies coming up this holiday
ew,
season?
I have a really, I do have, I already have one Christmas movie in the can. Which I second unit directed and have a really fun cameo in. Really fun. And so that's already in the can. That'll be Lifetime in December, and that has that has the lovelies Jack A. Harry and Vivica A. Fox in. So it's a real fun one. So that'll be in December. I have uh, shooting a lovely short film, as I mentioned this weekend. We are still trying to find a place for this amazing film that I did with uh, Jim O'Hare from Parks and Recs. I played Jim's wife. And we're right in the place where it's like we had a cast and crew screening that was just phenomenal. I mean, and it's again one of those projects that I know that this is independently done, but when I watch it, I don't see anything that says, "Oh, that was a sweet little independent. This happen," and there's none of that. It was one of those wonderful. I mean, the talent in this film uh, is off the chart. Like I play the mother of five, and I am like a proud mother of all of my children because they're all the children in this film are so they're not and they're adults. I'll have a grandmother too in this one, but they're everyone is so ridiculously talented in this film. So Jim O'Hare and I play a couple, and he's a, a very conservative um, minister in a Midwest town, and his problem and he's got a wife and some children that are not necessarily falling in line with his beliefs, and so kind of the hilarity ensues from there. so we are so we're right in the place where they're either get distribution, or do they do some festivals. So we're right there, because I know there was some distribution interest after we did the like cast and crew screening. So we're seeing whether it's going to do the festival route first or whether it's just going to go right to distribution. But I'm so proud of that film. So
Well, when
I
it makes it to the public realm, going to have to send me a private screener so I can watch it and we can do this again.
Oh, yeah, I would love that. Yeah, I'm so proud of it. I should mention the last part. So of my Emmy journey, which I've been on, it feels like since this year's Emmy journey has been a nonstop journey, because in addition to having in primetime Aliwood, having in daytime Spirit Quest with Jack Maxwell, um, we were on the news and doc ballot for a series that I was one of the producers on called Mafia Spies, and we got a music composition nomination, which was a huge thing for our composer because that's every documentary. So, like it's competing against all the documentaries. This series that which is on Paramount Plus. So that was so I say one out of three campaigns produced a nomination. So we just keep trucking forward. And it was the first time I ever had anything on the news and doc ballot. So learning kind of that world and getting to know that space was really really cool too.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on that nomination.
Eyes on Paramount Plus, speaking of streaming. Um, so you can check that out, and I think you will find that Lee Roberts, our composer, absolutely deserved that nomination. The music is so fantastic.
Well, I'm going to check that out. And ladies and gentlemen, Aliwood, that a series that we've been talking about today, is a groundbreaking short form series featuring Iranian-American actor and writer Ali Zahiri. The series, which aims to break the mold of Middle Eastern storytelling, has been a remarkable journey for all involved. Now, Aliwood brings together a talented cast: Meredith Thomas, who shares her delightful experiences working alongside Ali Zahiri. Well, despite the challenges indie short form series face in competing against network giants, well, Meredith is proud of the bold choice to champion an independently produced project. And Meredith, and of course, everybody can see this on YouTube, correct?
Yes, that's right. You just, if you search Hollywood, you'll find all 6 episodes. Um, and yeah, let us know what you think. And come and see us on social media if you have any ideas for series, the season 2. um,
Yeah,
we
well, the way that it ended, I want to see what season 2 would be like.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to Ollie getting on his first set yet.
Yeah, and I could actually see this as a even a much larger streaming series, to where it would be maybe 30-minute or 40-minute episodes, because there's so much to work with this topic and to make it funny. And again, it is top-notch production. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see Aliwood, the 6 episodes, when you watch it, you're going to think some studio actually did this work. But no, independent filmmaking is it's the heart of the industry. And I applaud Ali and the whole team over there, Meredith, for putting out something that deserves millions of eyeballs.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for being such a champion for independent filmmaking.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
really.
Yeah, I mean, from short films to feature films. I mean, it's the independence to me. And, a lot of people don't realize too, this past Oscar season, Best Picture, and then with Sean Baker's Honora, that was an independent film.
Hmm.
So independence can still win the Oscar. So it doesn't have to be linked to a studio whatsoever. So for all of you independent filmmakers out there, keep going after those scripts. Do the best you can and put your work out there. You never know where it may end up, and you may end up holding a golden statue one day. So you never know unless you try. And again, Meredith, thank you so much. And we'll be doing this again soon, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Happy Christmas in July.
Hey, there you go. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. Check us out at bondoncinema.com. And as for me, you're either going to see me at the movies or from the red carpet.